University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The retractable roof is closed today, so it's going to be loud for this NFC wildcard matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. And the fans anticipating the appearance of their heroes today, the Arizona Cardinals, and their quarterback is Kurt Warner. He's 37 years old. Some thought his career was finished. All he's done is had a record-breaking season, leading the Cardinals into the playoffs. And nearly 14 years his junior, his Atlanta counterpart, Matt Ryan, the rookie quarterback, who's been sensational for the Falcons. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Arizona. Tom Hammond and Chris Collinsworth ready to kick off the NFL playoff season with two improbable teams, really. For this Cardinal franchise, it's been 60 seasons since they hosted a playoff game. They were the Chicago Cardinals then, back in 1947, when they played at Old Comiskey Park. But they are the champions of the NFC West, and Chris, they got to this point by having one of the best passing attacks in the league.
Boy, do they ever. And Kurt Warner, you talked about the up and down career of Kurt Warner. Well, he is definitely on the upswing now, back in the Pro Bowl once again, but more importantly to him, back in the playoffs with one more chance to get another Super Bowl ring. And he certainly has some weapons. The acrobatic Larry Fitzgerald, who I think has some of the best hands in all of football, and Anquan Boldin, one of the toughest players at any position in all of football as well.
You do know he's a wide receiver.
Well, you knew I was going to throw that in there, yeah.
Well, what about the Atlanta Falcons? They won only 4 games a year ago, and you know about all their troubles. Michael Vick, convicted, sent to prison. The next day, their coach Bobby Petrino left for Arkansas. But things started to turn around when they hired Mike Smith as their head coach. They signed unrestricted free agent Michael Turner, the running back, and then with the 3rd pick in the draft out of Boston College, they selected Matt Ryan, who has been already in some polls Rookie of the Year. They like more balance in their attack. They like to get the running game going too.
Yeah, they certainly do, but this has really been the story of Matt Ryan. When you say the young man, one of the most successful rookie quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. You talk to their coaches, they say he has an amazing grasp of the offense. Talk to the offensive linemen, and they say he's the reason we've given up so few sacks this season. And maybe another reason has been the play of Michael Turner, the outstanding running back. Nearly 1,700 yards rushing. He is so tough, he can bowl you over, and he can certainly run around you and come up with some big plays. Well, should be an exciting day here today.
Yeah, a lot of offensive fireworks. In fact, as Atlanta takes on Arizona, we're expecting a shootout in the desert.
Commit everything you've got for 4 more weeks. If you're willing to do it, the sky's the limit.
Tampa, 1 goal, 1 game at a time.
The pace is going to be a little bit faster and be intense, fun to play in.
I think everybody understands that the tempo picks up more, and if you think that was fast, here comes the playoffs.
NBC's NFL Wildcard Playoff is brought to you by Campbell's Select Harvest Soups. Real ingredients, real taste. Spanish audio provided by Telemundo. Today's game is presented in high definition by Vizio, America's HD company. To learn more, go to Vizio.com. NBC Sports, home of Super Bowl 43, welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Back at University of Phoenix Stadium for this NFC wildcard matchup between the Falcons and the Cardinals. And joining us on the sideline today, a man that knows all about being on the field during the playoffs, former New York Giant Tiki Barber. Welcome, Tiki.
Good afternoon, guys. The University of Phoenix Stadium here in Arizona is one of the most unique in the National Football League because its field rolls out to the parking lot. Just last week, they stripped it, resodded it, and let it bake, and then they roll it back in for game time. Now, this is one of the most popular fields in the National Football League with the players because it's perfectly flat and extremely fast, and players love that. Also, Tom, you mentioned earlier that the roof is closed, and I was told that the roof is closed because the Cardinals want to amplify all of this crowd noise.
And we can attest that it's pretty loud in here today. That's Mike Smith, who is in his first season as the head coach of the Falcons, and Ken Wisenant of the Cardinals in his 2nd year. Have their teams in the playoffs, and there's young Matt Ryan, who will be taking the field after his older counterpart Kurt Warner, because Cardinals won the toss and will receive. So Mike Kanan is set to kick it off to Arrington and Morey. Bouncing around, finally picked up by Arrington. And Arrington will be twisted down at about the 12-yard line by Thomas Takud as we meet the starting lineup for the Arizona offense.
University of Northern Iowa.
Benjamin James, the U.
Anquan Boldin, Florida State University.
Larry Fitzgerald Jr., University of Pittsburgh.
Stephen Breston, Woodland Hills.
Steven Spock, Fresno State.
Mike Gandy, Notre Dame.
Reggie Wells, Clarendon University.
Lyle Senline, University of Texas.
Deuce Tui, USC.
Levi Brown, Penn State.
And the Cardinals with Kurt Warner start from their own 12-yard line. Warner now backs away from center and got the play off. Under pressure. Threw it for Fitzgerald, who nearly made it a one-handed grab as we meet the starting lineup for the Falcons on defense.
John Abraham, South Carolina.
Grady Jackson, Knoxville College. Jonathan Babineau, Iowa.
Chauncey Davis, Florida State.
Coy Wire, Stanford.
Curtis Lofton, Oklahoma.
Keith Brooking, Georgia Tech.
Dominique Foxworth, Maryland.
Lawyer Malloy, University of Washington.
Eric Coleman, Washington State. Chris Houston, University of Arkansas.
So 2nd and 10 now for the Cardinals. Arrington in motion. Here's Warner. Hit as he released, and it comes up short. He was hit just as he let the ball go, and incomplete.
Well, it looked like Kurt Warner took a shot just as he was letting go of this one, and that was Keith Brooking coming around the edge there on a blitz. They know that they cannot allow Kurt Warner to just sit back comfortably in this pocket and pick him apart. But the Atlanta Falcons, not a big pressure team really, but I think they're going to change gears a little bit today and try and get some heat on them.
So here's 3rd down and 10, deep in their own end. Warner in the shotgun. Throws it underneath. And it'll be short of the 1st down. So the Cardinals' big high-powered offense sputtering on the first possession as Ben Patrick stopped short of the first. And Mike Smith's defense has held. And a punting situation.
You just have to wonder who may be more nervous in this situation. Kurt Warner, who maybe this is his last shot at this, you know, at getting a chance to go through the playoffs and get another ring. Or Matt Ryan, who's saying, I'll probably do this for the next 15 years.
Ben Graham in punt formation sends it toward Harry Douglas. High punt. Douglas finally fields it just in front of the 30-yard line. Cuts to the sideline and a nice return. Out of bounds in Arizona territory. Knocked out of bounds by Calais Campbell. It's a 50-yard punt return. 21 though as we meet the Atlanta starting offense.
Matt Ryan, Boston College.
Michael Turner, Northern Illinois.
Ovi Maile, the Wake Forest University.
Roddy White, Alabama Birmingham.
Michael Jenkins, The Ohio State University.
Justin Peele, Oregon.
Todd Weiner, Kansas State.
Justin Blaylock, Texas at Austin. Todd McClure, LSU.
Harvey Dahl, Nevada.
Tyson Claiborne, Wake Forest.
Good field position for the Falcons as they begin, and they are a potent first quarter, first half team. Play action fake, and Ryan rolling to his right. He's going to tuck it under and slide down at the 45-yard line. He got about 3 yards on the play as we meet the defense for the Arizona Cardinals.
Antonio Smith, Oklahoma State.
Brian Robinson, Fresno State University.
Darnell Dockett, FSU.
Bertrand Berry, Notre Dame.
Chike O'Keefe, West Lafayette Red Devils.
Gerald Hayes, Patterson, New Jersey. We here.
Carlos Dansby, Woodlawn High School.
Rod Hood, Auburn University.
Adrian Wilson, North Carolina State University.
Antrell Rowe, the U. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Tennessee State.
Here's a 2nd down run by Turner, his first carry of the game, the man who led the NFL in carries with 376 in the regular season, but tackled by Carlos Dansby after a short gain. Dansby, the leading tackler for the Cardinals.
And really no big mystery to this game. Michael Turner, the guy who is going to be the key. Can this Arizona Cardinals defense that has had some good days stopping the run against the Giants, against the Cowboys, hold up? Because they certainly have had some pretty tough days trying to stop the run as well.
More Norwood replaces Turner here on 3rd and 6. Low snap, Ryan fielded it and fires across the middle. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Ralph Brown of the Cardinals. So a turnover by the Falcons on their first possession.
Well, maybe I just got my question answered about who's more nervous, because this really wasn't that tough of a read. We saw Matt Ryan. Typically, he looks straight down the field and doesn't tip his hand. That time, he stared down the receiver and paid a price. Well, that time the veteran got the better of the rookie. Ralph Brown, 9 years in the league, right here is just going to run underneath this route. He sees the inside guy clear down the field, and he knows what's coming next. He understands the combination routes, flips his head around, and Matt Ryan throws it right to him. That was a nervous-looking throw to me, because one of the great things we've seen out of Matt Ryan this year, he doesn't tip his hand. He did there.
There's a running play to Edgerrin James, and the veteran James crosses the 40-yard line. Tackled then by Lofton.
Well, for Edgerrin James, this has been a bit of a tough season. He was so excited about the possibility of passing some of the great names in running back history. This season he had a chance to go by Marcus Allen, Marshall Faulk, Jim Brown, but he has been an afterthought in this offense. That was until last week when he had 100 yards rushing. Now here he is back in the starting lineup again.
His 57th career 100-yard game. 2nd and 4. Draw play. James again. First down for the Cardinals as he pounds into Falcon territory to the 48-yard line. Oddly enough, Arizona working here on the ground with James.
But you know what? We're seeing the veterans step up. Edgerrin James, how many playoff games has he played in his career? Certainly settled in, and probably the greater motivation for him is he wants out of here. He thinks they don't run the football enough around here. He says, I'm tired of being a pass blocker. I want to go somewhere where I can run the football a little bit. Well, maybe today he gets the chance.
15 yards, as you see, on his first 2 carries. And he's given the Cardinals a first down. Why not? Try it again. Edgerrin James with his 3rd straight carry. It looks like they're challenging the Falcons to stop the run. That one gained 6.
Boy, that was a heavy run right there. Edgerrin was telling me that he really, this offseason, spent so much time getting his body ready for the pounding he thought he was going to take, that he was essentially benched early in the season and really didn't get much of a chance. But one of the things that has happened out of this, obviously he is fresher than he has ever been at this point in the season, and maybe they're going to work him in here today.
Well, as you saw, extremely rare to see them run the football 3 straight times. Throw it back on the flea flicker play. Warner for the end zone for Fitzgerald. Touchdown! What a catch in traffic.
This kid is sick. Edgerrin James, run after run after run, come right back to the flea flicker. And I'm telling you, this is an ordinary catch for Larry Fitzgerald. You could not have better coverage than the Atlanta Falcons had on this play. They were not fooled. Lawyer Malloy was right there. Chris Houston was there. But this is what they want from Kurt Warner. Throw the ball up and let Fitzgerald have a chance. He is remarkable.
Neil Rockers to attempt the point after. It's up and it's good. Well, the Falcons had both Lawyer Malloy and Chris Houston bracketing Fitzgerald, but he went up to get it, a 42-yard touchdown catch. Larry Fitzgerald on the receiving end of the flea flicker pass from Warner, and the Cardinals take the lead. Larry Fitzgerald with one of his circus catches to put the Cardinals on top, and it was no accident he makes catches like that. Look at this before the game today. He's practicing those. One-handed grab before the game from Kurt Warner. Wow.
Looks like Spider-Man. Stuck. I mean, he does that all the time. He grew up idolizing Chris Carter. He would watch Chris Carter in practice because his father was a sports writer in Minnesota.
Rackers with the kickoff. Norwood fields it halfway through the end zone and takes a knee for the touchback. So the Falcons will begin from their 20 when we return, down 7-0. NBC's NFL Wildcard Playoffs brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. By Sprint. Get NFL Mobile Live only on the Now Network. By Toyota and the line of scrimmage. And by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. Camelback Mountain and inside University of Phoenix Stadium as the Falcons on their second series after the turnover, which led to the Arizona touchdown. Turner gets nothing as Arizona again stops the run, led by Hayes.
Well, Lawyer Malloy will admit, as he moves up in age, that this is not what he does best. He prefers being down in the box, playing the run. But that time fooled slightly. He managed to get back in play. But then it was Larry Fitzgerald, and there's the dad, the sports writers up there saying, my son is the hero of the game.
That's what his lead is. My son opened the game with an unbelievable catch.
Chip off the old block, yes indeed.
Second down and 9, and a flag down. First penalty of the game. False start against the Falcons. John Perry is today's referee.
False start. Number 85, offense, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And could this game have started any more poorly for the Atlanta Falcons?
No.
This is a team that typically is used to playing in front, and they really have not had to ever put Matt Ryan in a position where he has to simply drop back, throw the football. They've been able to rely on their running game, but so far Arizona has come up big against Michael Turner.
So second down and 15. Handoff to Turner. And again, not much doing. They stop him right at the 20-yard line.
Well,
Gabe Watson, the tackle.
Well, you can see Matt Ryan when he's leading, and he is pretty special out there. Big reason why the Rookie of the Year. But you look down here when he's trailing, quarterback rating of just 77. That's pretty pedestrian. So they certainly don't have to panic at this point, but here they are again, third down and 10, must-passing situation.
Ryan fires to the sideline. It's complete right to the 30-yard line. Catch is made by Roddy White. White is going to the Pro Bowl. He caught 88 during the regular season for 1,300 yards.
Much better that time by Matt Ryan. Watch him keep his eyes down the field this time, look off the safeties, come late over to Roddy White, and able to pick up the first down. Much more calm approach, much better looking in the pocket. That's the Matt Ryan that was the Rookie of the Year.
And probably a sigh of relief from him, too, after getting that third and long conversion. Ryan backpedaling, fires off his back foot and throws it away.
That was a strange looking play.
I know, it looked like
I
was expecting a flag.
Looked like they jumped off sides, and I think Matt Ryan thought he had a free play. Mike Smith saying, "Are you kidding me?" Trying to help him out. Mike always with a smile on his face, but really that could have been really dangerous. Yeah. I think Matt Ryan thought it was a free play. Lucky for him, he threw it out of bounds instead of trying to throw it up.
Second and 10 from the eye. Turner hit in the backfield and driven back. Dansby met him again.
Boy, I tell you, for a questionable defensive line, this defensive line is living in the backfield for Atlanta right now. Look at all the penetration as they try to pull guards and tackles out in front of Michael Turner. Chike O'Keefer just getting in the backfield and getting there first. And this has to be a bit of a shock now for the Atlanta Falcons that they cannot run the ball any better than what they're doing. But you saw Dansby raise up and call a timeout. So the Cardinals spend a timeout. We'll be back. Look at this beautiful stadium. Our aerial coverage today brought to you by Duracell. There's the offsides that we thought we saw. We did see. It was Antonio Smith and Gabe Watson jumping offsides, and the Falcons were lucky. Third and 13 then for Ryan, who's sacked.
O'Keefer got him from behind. So this much maligned Arizona defense up to the task here in the first quarter as they get Matt Ryan.
Yeah, one of the problems that the Arizona Cardinals have had this season is they really have not had great pass rush from the outside. But they have the Atlanta Falcons so far out of their game by stopping this run that now there is an opportunity to get some pressure on Matt Ryan that maybe hasn't been there for the most part this season.
And Atlanta has done a much better job of protecting the passer this season. Rare for them to allow a sack. And here's Roll on the punt return. Stopped after a short gain. 49 yards on the punt. He lost one on the return, but the Cardinals get it back. They have the lead.
That's what's so special about Larry. I can put the ball away from him, and he's still got an uncanny ability to come up with the big catch. I know what people at home see, and they think, wow, that was an unbelievable catch. For us, it's kind of commonplace because we see it every day.
And true to form, Fitzgerald did make one of those patented catches in the end zone. 7-0 Arizona as they take over at their own 24-yard line. Edgerrin James dodging would-be tacklers. Gets it out to the 29-yard line.
Are you sure the Falcons and Cardinals didn't switch uniforms? I mean, what we saw out of the Cardinals, they come out in the first series and they go pass, pass, pass. And then the next series, they go run, 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 and the flea flicker for the touchdown. They come out and start running again. And I think part of what's happening now is the Atlanta Falcons have brought in so many defensive backs and are playing the pass until they begin to get out of that look. They're just going to keep pounding the football. Edgerrin James looks good.
Yeah, Arizona's saying, we're going to run it till you stop it. 5 yards on that first down carry, and Warner back to the air to Fitzgerald, who catches it in stride. Ball came loose after he was down. He made it to the 40-yard line, almost the 40-yard line, before he's tackled by Eric Coleman.
Just a tremendous read that time by Kurt Warner. It looked like there was going to be a two-deep safety look, and yet Kurt knew that it was going to turn into a single safety, and he just threw it right in the seam. This is Kurt Warner at his best. And Larry Fitzgerald, we were talking to him the other day, he said, Kurt had to teach me how to be a wide receiver. I, throughout the course of my career, have been a deep guy, down the sideline, comebacks, jumping up in the air. He taught me those end cuts.
James again. Edgerrin James, like the Edgerrin James of old, he's inside the 35 of the Falcons. Coleman with his second straight tackle.
Well, maybe they should have let Edgerrin James rest earlier in his career, because this is really startling. I'm sure the fans of the Arizona Cardinals who have watched this team, remember, they rank last in the National Football League in rushing. This has just been a pass-happy, great wide receivers, great quarterback. Hope that you can hold up with the running game. Look at Edgerrin.
Yeah.
Saying, I can't believe it. Maybe they heard that he wanted to get out of here, and they're trying to make him happy.
5 runs, 5 passes for the Cardinals. James has run all 5 of those, 33 yards, averaging 6.6 yards a carry so far. And once again, though, the Cardinals have to take a timeout. That's their second timeout. They've already burned 2 here in the first half. Tuesday, The Biggest Loser returns, and this time their lives are on the line. The Biggest Loser couples, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on NBC. Well, the Cardinals able to run the football and able to stop the run so far. They've limited Turner to 4 yards on 4 carries, while Edgerrin James has been able to run successfully, setting up the pass.
Yeah, and it really has been the key. I tell you, with the way that Arizona can throw the football, if they establish this kind of a running game, there are going to be a lot of teams going to have trouble stopping them. This has been a fantastic offense all season, but that has been the missing link, the missing element for these guys, and so far today it looks great.
Draw play. This is Arrington with his first carry, and twisted down by Chauncey Davis on that one.
You know, every one of these running backs for Arizona has sort of taken their turn a little bit this season. Arrington is more of the scat back coming out as now Kurt Warner goes into the no-huddle offense. Tim Hightower was the starter during the middle part of the season after Edgerrin James started. Now it's back to Edgerrin James again.
3rd and 5. Warner backs away, surveys the defense, changes the play. Warner unloads it through the hands of his intended receiver, Boldin. Boldin has yet to make a catch. He had 89 during the regular season.
Well, that is really Anquan Boldin's game, is the catch and run. And the one thing the Falcons talked about was that they could not allow the yards after the catch today. That once Anquan Boldin got it in his hands, they were going to have to tackle him. Of course, he's got to get it in his hands first.
Mike Smith saying that was one of the keys to victory for the Falcons, was to limit those yards after the catch. Don't give up the big plays. So here's a punt by Graham. Brian Finneran deep for the Falcons. It's going to hit and take a wonderful bounce for the Cardinals down around the 5-yard line. Perfectly executed 30-yard punt, no return, backing the Falcons up deep. And with 4:16 left in this opening quarter, everything has gone Arizona's way so far. They've limited Turner to 4 yards on 4 carries.
Boy, it has been an unexpectedly tough day so far for Michael Turner. Remember, this guy was second in the MVP balloting. He weighs about 240 pounds, runs a 4.440. They have been dominating up front this entire season, and yet thus far against a suspect Arizona Cardinals defense, he has gotten nothing.
So spot the ball at the 7, where Atlanta puts it into play. Turner get it for about 3 yards to the 10-yard line as we check in with Tiki.
Earlier this week, guys, Michael Turner's grandmother, Minnie Smart, passed away, and it's been a hard week for him. But he said that he got a lot of support from his family and his friends, and he said he wanted to come out and have a good day today just to make her proud.
Well, that was one of his better runs so far. He was very close to his grandmother in the Chicago metropolitan area, and he took it extremely hard. Came back into Arizona on a private plane late yesterday. 2nd down and 7. Play action fake. Ryan's pass nearly intercepted. Intended for Jenkins, and Roderick Hood nearly picked it off.
Oh, Roderick Hood, a guy that has been picked on a little bit here lately, coming up with a big play there. But you know, Tom, one of the problems that Atlanta is going to have without the running game now is the Cardinals are not biting on the play action the way that most teams do. Typically, when you play Atlanta, you have to commit so much to try and stop this running game that those play actions, bootlegs, and waggles just eat you up. But right now, the running game's not going well enough to set up the pass.
Matt Ryan only 1 of 4, 11 yards, and an interception, and sacked again at the 5-yard line. 2nd sack of the day. This one by Bertrand Berry, who had 5 sacks in the regular season.
Bertrand Berry coming off the edge, working against the rookie Sam Baker, and you could see how late Sam Baker got off the ball. One of the great advantages of playing in crowd noise like this and closing the dome and all that is those tackles can't hear the snap count, and that time it cost him a sack.
Kanan will punt from deep in his own end zone. Low snap, he got it and got it away. Breaston comes up on the ball, then backs off. Picks it up dangerously on the hop and immediately taken down. Well, so far, Arizona's defense is dominated. Did I say that? And we want to stay tuned, of course, for Game 2 of NBC's Wild Card doubleheader. Peyton Manning and the Colts, LT and the Chargers. And immediately following our game, stay tuned for the Diet Pepsi Bridge Show. All that coming up next, only on NBC. Wild Card Saturday. Here's the AFC playoff picture with Indiana and San Diego, the 4-5 matchup, as is this matchup in the NFC. And then tomorrow, Baltimore and Miami, while Tennessee and the Steelers earned the byes. Arizona once again takes over possession of the football with a 1st down at their own 45-yard line. Warner for Fitzgerald, who got tangled up with the defender, Foxworth.
Pretty close call there. They can call a foul called the cutoff, where if the guy immediately cuts in front of the defender.
And he did, didn't he?
I don't know what the pure definition of that is right now, but that's what I would have said that was. I think Mike Smith is more concerned about maybe he got ripped back the other way. So sometimes the officials will go, all right, one on you and one on the other guy. So that's a wash.
2nd and 10. Kurt Warner's in the shotgun. Blitz comes from the Falcons, and Warner lets it go as he's taken down. Lucky to get it away. That quick release of Kurt Warner, intended for Fitzgerald, and Lawyer Malloy was putting the pressure on from his safety spot.
Yeah, no more sitting back and letting Kurt Warner play his games. Now we're starting to see the pressure. Lawyer Malloy coming on a safety blitz. And it was interesting talking to the Falcons. They made the point that Kurt Warner, even when you get him to the point where he's almost sacked, he has the ability to get the ball out of his hands. So you really have to, when you're trying to sack him, tackle his arms. He has a propensity to fumble the football anyway, so shoot for his arms.
Taking a lot of hits, as you see, and facing a 3rd and 10 here. Steps up in the pocket and throws, nearly intercepted through the hands of the defender Brooking. Keith Brooking really should have picked that one off, huh? Didn't it go right through his hands?
Yeah, it did. And you're talking about 50 yards of field position here. This is an easy interception. This ball was not thrown hard. Even those defensive players with bad hands ought to be able to catch that one, but it looked like he only got the underneath hand on it. Kurt Warner lucky there.
Warner during the regular season threw 14 interceptions with 30 touchdowns. Here's the Graham punt. Douglas. Great coverage again by the Arizona special teams. Michael Adams was the man that made the play that time after a 46-yard punt. No return.
Well, we've talked a lot about Atlanta's coverage teams.
Right.
I think the Cardinals got a little sick of hearing about it. Of course, the Atlanta Falcons record-breaking this season and limiting punt return yardage, and Arizona got tired of reading those clippings.
Falcons allowing an NFL record low 49 punt return yards in the regular season. That's an incredible number. Once again, the Falcons backed up deep. 2.5 to go, first quarter. From their 8. Turner. 2 yards to the 10.
Well, we talked about some of the distractions, but certainly Michael Turner has had a distraction off the field as well. Police called to his house for a domestic dispute, and on the other side, Larry Fitzgerald had a restraining order made public this week. So 2 of the big names in the game, a lot to think about off the field as well. I'm sure the NFL, as they always do, will take a good hard look at both of those cases.
Ryan on 2nd down finds his receiver for a first down. That was White who made the catch. It goes for 10 yards and an Atlanta first down. Rogers Cromartie the tackle.
Well, it's really been fun to watch Roddy White and his development during the course of his career. At one time, he was thought of as a bust. It just was not going well for him at all. Maybe a little bit to do with the fact that Michael Vick was the quarterback and not the pure passer. Talking to Michael Jenkins before the game, he said, hey, this Matt Ryan kid, he's one of those Peyton Manning, Tom Brady kind of guys.
Atlanta record this season for him. Here's Turner. Can't get to the outside. Grabbed by the ankle by Hood, who held on until help arrived.
You know, Tom, one of the things that we see a lot of with this Atlanta offense, and talking to Clancy Pendergast, the defensive coordinator for Arizona before the game, he said, we consider this to be the most creative running game that we've seen. These guys and the New York Giants, they do such a great job with their cutback blocking, their cutback runs. But so far today, the Cardinals have taken away that cutback and really have just kept them to the front side.
Their Pro Bowl safety, Adrian Wilson, saying Atlanta will fool you. You have to keep your eyes focused. Here is a long run by Norwood. And so far, Chris, Turner, 7 carries, 11 yards. Incredibly that they've been able to stop him so well. This is right close to the first down on the carry by Norwood.
Yeah, Jarius Norwood has popped a few big ones. But you can see typically now, Jarius Norwood, the for the whoever going the
Falcons in the quarter NFC wild card game. Arizona leads Atlanta 7-0 at the end of the first. NBC's NFL Wild Card Playoff continues right after these messages. We start the second quarter of this Wild Card Playoff game with the Atlanta Falcons and their rookie quarterback and rookie coach down 7-0. And of course, tomorrow, that record will be short-lived. Tomorrow,
it'll be the shortest lived
Flacco
record.
and Harbaugh for the Ravens will equal that feat of rookie coach and rookie quarterback. First down for the Falcons from their 30. Handoff to Turner. Nice run. That's his best of the day so far. That one gained 13 yards for Michael Turner before Hood put the stop on him.
But right now they're doing a lot of the stuff that they had been doing in the past, going there, and typically they cut it back. But you'll see now what they're doing is they're showing that and staying front side, and that's the reason now they've been starting to run the football.
Matt Ryan whispering to his players, it's so loud you have to get right up in their ear. First down pass puts it complete to Jenkins. And Jenkins has a first down, so 2 straight plays net first downs for the Falcons. That one covered 13.
Right now, Adrian Wilson is just living at the line of scrimmage, the safety. So now that they're finally down and committing so many people to the run, now you're starting to see Matt Ryan, especially on early downs, having the ability to complete some passes.
And once again, Ryan getting right up next to his receivers to give them the play call. First down pass. Out of the backfield, it's complete to Turner. And Turner will be stopped a couple of yards short of the first down. The best drive of the day underway here for the Falcons. Dockett made the stop.
Tom, don't you get the feeling that Matt Ryan's finally taking a deep breath?
Yeah,
And I can tell you, I played in a playoff game my rookie year, and I didn't stop hyperventilating until halftime. I mean, it really is. You know the significance of it. It just feels different, and it looks like he's finally starting to make some of those reads now.
Give it to Turner, dancing his way across the first down marker. Another first down for the Falcons, and Ryan, by all accounts, has remarkable poise and work ethic, but you had to be a little hyped up, and then to throw an interception on your first possession, kind of get down on yourself, so maybe it took him a little longer to break out of it, but looks like he has.
And I like what they're doing here. Now they're going to a no huddle, which helps calm you down a little bit. You know, you're not thinking as much. You're just reacting out there.
Quick drop, quick strike. Douglas wham down on the tackle by Hood.
Boy, that was a nice looking play set up from the beginning. Jenkins had a good block, and you just had a one-on-one situation on the outside, but Roger Hood, all right. The former Philadelphia Eagle, they can hit back there.
The rookie Harry Douglas, welcome to the playoffs. Jarius Norwood now in for Turner, and Ryan in the shotgun on 2nd and 11. Ryan's pass with a flag down is complete to White, and White out of bounds. He'll have a first down if it holds up.
Yeah, that time it looked like Bertrand Berry got caught on that one with the bit of the quick jump trying to get by Sam Baker again.
At the snap, offside, number 92 defense. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play, first down.
Those outside pass rushers love playing when the crowd noise is loud. Tried to get there, but now Matt Ryan with some of these quick throws, getting completions out to the playmakers, getting the ball in everybody's hands. And I think in a playoff game in particular, it's good to get the ball in guys' hands. Let them settle down a little bit. It's like a shooter making his first shot. You just sort of relax and get a feel for the game.
Ryan perfect so far on this drive. Here's his 6th attempt, and it too is complete. This one into Pollard. Ball comes free. Fallen on by the Falcons as Wilson ripped it loose.
And very close there. I thought that it was going to end up being stopping his forward progress, but the whistle never did blow. He continued to battle. That was definitely a free ball. And Jarius Norwood made a great play to get on that one.
Yeah, Norwood saved the day for the Falcons there.
Boy, Adrian Wilson is already having a big game in this one. Down in the box, stopping the run, ripping the ball out.
2nd and 9 from the Arizona 20. Turner. Penetration again by the Cardinal defense, and the stop in the backfield by Gerald Hayes.
And one of the things they wanted from Gerald Hayes was, I don't want to say this, so it sounds bad, but don't think. Just go get the guy. And so they gave him one gap in this game. Don't think about making reads. Don't worry about anything. You have this gap, shoot through it, and man, did he shoot through it on that one.
That's what he did. He just reacted, didn't he?
Yep.
All the way into the backfield. So a loss of 1 on that play, making it 3rd down and 10. Rookie Matt Ryan. Fires complete as the defender fell down. Jenkins makes the catch.
Boy,
Looked like Hood fell down, didn't he?
Yeah, and if Jenkins had realized that he had some room over there, I think he could have stopped and turned that one up the field. You'll see Hood fall down. Let's see if he had room to make this catch and stop. Yeah, a little bit. He was trying to reach the ball out to pick up the 1st down, but by doing that, he might have been able to turn that one up and score.
Yeah, and just short of the 1st down. So on 4th down, the Falcons are going to call a timeout to discuss whether Elam will kick a field goal or whether they'll go for it on 4th and 1.
They may want to challenge that spot too and take a look.
Kurt Warner on the right has thrown a touchdown pass. Matt Ryan on the left was 7 for 7 on that last drive, but they got only a field goal. And today's quarterback matchup, as you see, the 3rd most difference in years, nearly 14 years difference between Warner and Ryan.
Yeah, and we were asking him, were you a little nervous playing against a guy like Kurt Warner? He said, nah, not so much here, but when I played against Philadelphia, that was my hometown team. Donovan McNabb, that one definitely got my attention.
Here's Arrington returning the Keenan kickoff. Taken down at about the 27-yard line, and Kurt Warner ready to go back out.
Had to pump up the tires there a little bit first.
How we had to have flat.
You know, for Kurt Warner, what a ride it's been through initially signing as an undrafted free agent with Green Bay, got cut there, then bounced to the Arena League, to NFL Europe, and of course the Super Bowl seasons with the Rams and the Giants, it didn't go so well. It got replaced by Matt Leinart, and now here he is on the uptick again, and you just wonder how many more bounces this guy has in him, because this season he has certainly been sensational, but at some point Matt Leinart will be the guy. They have to make a decision. Do they re-sign Kurt Warner or turn to Matt Leinart after this season?
Warner, it's tipped by Bierman and incomplete, as you see Matt Leinart on the sideline.
Now we're starting to see more guys up around the line of scrimmage, and the pressure coming from Atlanta now as well. And Bierman is a guy that has sort of worked his way slowly in as one of those pressure guys. Take a look at Matt Leinart. Of course, he was assumed to be the starting quarterback this year, but Ken Wisenhunt promised Kurt Warner that it would be an open competition, and when it came to that, Kurt Warner's pretty tough.
Warner's missed his last 5 tosses until that completion, which is the first catch by Boldin. Short of the 30-yard line.
You know, Tom, one of the things that I do think that Atlanta has done a nice job of so far in this game is tackling the open field, and you have to. Larry Fitzgerald, they think that running after the catch is so important to Arizona that he lost 15 pounds this offseason because they weren't happy. I mean, he was pretty good at it, 3 or 4 yards per carry, but Anquan Boldin was off the charts, like 6 or 7 yards per carry, so Fitzgerald was trying to match him.
Well, all the Atlanta coaching staff identifying that as a key to limit the big plays, but this Arizona passing game. Here's Boldin again, and he has a first down the sideline. All the way for the touchdown. 71 yards.
Well, I guess that would qualify as a little run after the catch. what happens is right here, the safety is going to get picked. Lawyer Malloy, see all the crowd in that bunch? He was late getting there, and then he simply took a bad angle, and Boldin took off. He came in with a bad shoulder, not a bad leg, and you could just see the veteran Malloy taking a bad angle on that one, and was unable to catch up.
Extra point attempt by Rockers splits the middle. And the big play, 71 yards. That's what Atlanta feared. It's Boldin that catches that one from Kurt Warner. Warner's second touchdown pass of the game. 14-3. Cardinals over the Falcons in this NFC wild card matchup. Kurt Warner's thrown 2 touchdown passes. 42 yards and 71 yards. And coaches always want balance in their offense, right? Fitzgerald, 2 catches, 72 yards, a score. Boldin, 2 catches, 72 yards, a score.
That works.
Here's Norwood returning the kickoff and slammed to the turf at about the 23-yard line. Good special teams coverage by Aaron Francisco. And the Brain Trust, Bidwell and Graves, happy that their team's up 14-3. Point of concern for the Cardinals. Boldin, after scoring that touchdown, pulling up lame. And they've been working on him over on the sideline. Try to get a report on what his injury might be. On September 28th against the Jets, Boldin took a brutal hit from Eric Smith, who was later fined $50,000 and suspended the game. Boldin had multiple facial fractures fixed with 7 plates and 40 screws. But he took no painkillers, missed only 2 games. You said in the open he was tough.
Yeah, and I think the moral to the story is this guy's going to be back. There's no way you're going to keep him out, but you can tell for a wide receiver, a hamstring injury is definitely a factor. But I was talking with him about that play, and he said, you know, they called out the stretcher, and they were wanting to take me off on a stretcher. He said, I wanted to fight him at that point. He said, I am not going off this field on a stretcher. But he ended up with no choice. But 3 weeks later, he was back playing after all that facial surgery and all those plates put in.
And took no painkillers. White had a first down reception for 7, and he gets it again for a first down for the Falcons. And Matt Ryan's finding his rhythm. He's hit 9 in a row, I believe. Rogers Cromartie made that stop for the Cardinals.
Well, you know, typically you have to run the ball to set up the pass, but I think what's happening now with the Falcons is they're trying to throw the ball to set up the run. The Cardinals have been up and around the line of scrimmage, in particular Adrian Wilson, all day. So they're taking some of these quick throws to try and spread this defense horizontally a bit and create some running lanes.
Norwood, the only setback, play action fake to him, and then Ryan whips it down the field, a man wide open, dropped the ball. That was White. Normally the sure-handed Roddy White was wide open and couldn't hold on.
Oh, what a beautifully designed play that time by Mike Mularkey. It looked like a bootleg back to that side, and then he stops and throws it all the way across the field, and you cannot have an easier pass to catch than that one. He couldn't have taken his eyes off of the ball. It almost hit him in the eyes. And Fitzgerald can't even believe it. That's like watching a guy with the yips. It makes you nervous.
Would have been 36 yards, instead incomplete. 2nd and 10, again to the air and wide of Jenkins, incomplete. For the first time ever in a dance competition unlike any other, it's country versus country on Superstars of Dance, premiering tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on NBC.
You ever dance like that at your high school
all
dance?
All the time, yeah, sure. I was good at it. 3rd down and 10.
That Roddy White drop is looming large right now in what's beginning to look like it may be a shootout.
Ryan under pressure, steps up, delivers, and caught. Nice catch by Michael Jenkins. And that will be enough for the Atlanta first down. It covered 21 yards.
A great protection that time up front by Atlanta. Look at all the blitzers coming off the edge over here. And yet Matt Ryan had the presence of mind to step up into that pocket as they ran him by, able to complete a big, big pass.
Pretty remarkable, as you mentioned, the protection that Atlanta's offensive line allowed 30 fewer sacks than last season. Play clock at 5. Ryan under pressure. Managed to get rid of it to Jenkins. Jenkins fighting his way before Hood forces him out of bounds. I mentioned the offensive line and what a great improvement they have had. The much maligned Atlanta offensive line, by the way. Todd McClure said, we've always been the scapegoat, but not this season. What a job they've done.
Yeah, look at the sack numbers there. Went from 47 to 17, but McClure telling us it was really Matt Ryan. His ability to get the ball out has made all the difference in the world for us.
Still plenty of time on the play clock. Ryan with a handoff to Turner. Turner again hit in the backfield as the Cardinals more often than not have met him in the backfield with great penetration to stop the run.
And they're doing a great job staying in their gaps here. Watch these guys stay backside. They're not chasing this thing to the front side. They're being patient. That time Gerald Hayes right there sitting in the hole. The defensive line doing their job. Nobody is chasing ghosts, as they call it, out around the edge. They are waiting for that comeback.
Third down. Low snap. Ryan has it. Rifles it, and it's complete. White held on to that one despite 3 Cardinals surrounding him. Rogers Cromartie, the first one on the scene. It gains 8 yards.
You know, one of the remarkable things about Matt Ryan, and I really have not seen this kind of stat before, especially out of a young quarterback, is that he is much more successful throwing to his left. Typically, that is not true of any quarterback because they want to always go to that open field side, to the right side, but his number's much better going to the left than going to the right.
That one good enough for a first down as he throws to the left. 64% and a 98 rating. Nearly 20 points better. Threw that one off his back foot while he was being chased. Look at that again, Chris. And
yeah,
is there any explanation at all?
Yeah, no. I'm not smart enough to come up with one, because you think about it, as a quarterback, they always open up and they're dropping back and they're, they can see the right side without straining, and yet it takes a real confidence level to go to the left because typically you're not seeing that develop. Mike Mularkey there, the offensive coordinator, just has such tremendous faith in this young man. He's willing to call anything.
Ryan, quick release across the middle for another first down to White. Roll wrapped him up, but not until he had 12 yards.
Boy, the key's been the offensive line so far here. Look at all these guys coming up here in a blitz look, but that protection holds up, and Matt Ryan has been his story this season, the ability to read it, get it out there quickly, and these receivers making plays on the ball. Well, that's another third down conversion. He's hit some big ones so far on this drive.
High formation this time. Now they break it as Norwood goes in motion. Ryan looks left, looks right, scrambles to his right, and will duck out of bounds. And again, showing his presence of mind, the former ACC Player of the Year who threw over 9,000 yards in his BC career, and he comes to the NFL. This is his first NFL pass. Look at this, 62 yards to Jenkins for a touchdown. His first career pass as a pro goes for a TD. An auspicious start for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, this game's easy. No problem.
Well, the next game when they played at Tampa Bay, he discovered it wasn't so easy.
That's true.
He took a beating.
He sure did.
Turner. Taken down at the 15-yard line.
Well, now the Falcons showing a lot of different looks, that time going to the full house backfield to try and create just a little bit of confusion. But this has really been, I mean, typically throughout the course of this season, you have to understand it has been the running game that has gotten the Falcons to this point. But without Matt Ryan today, this thing just would be a little bit ugly at this point. He has made all the plays in the clutch to keep them in it.
Under 3.5 to go in the first half. Atlanta playing from behind. Unusual for the rookie Ryan, who hits Finneran on that one. Brian Finneran's first catch. And another first down as Atlanta methodically moving down the field behind their rookie quarterback.
Boy, it's good to see Brian Finneran back in playing again. Roderick Hood giving him a lot of room, but Finneran missed the last 2 seasons with knee injuries, and he finally got himself back on the field. One of the top 3rd down receivers in the game, and he's finally gotten back in, and he is contributing.
Atlanta 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions in this drive. 1st and goal. Turner, nobody there. Touchdown.
Well, the first major mistake here, you're going to see both guys come onto the inside gap, and Carlos Dansby just completely out of position. They have been so disciplined in their gaps throughout the course of this first half. That's the first major mistake we've seen.
And badly needed touchdown by the Falcons as Elam is on to attempt the extra point, and it is good. Rookie Matt Ryan hands off to Michael Turner for the touchdown as the Falcons cover 77 yards in 14 plays to narrow the gap on the Cardinals.
To a kick, a 40-yard field goal attempt to try to win it. Ball down, kick on the way. It is good. It's good. It's good. And that's it.
Live from your pocket, it's the NFL. Get the new NFL Mobile Live free with any data plan. Only from Sprint. Only on the Now Network.
Arizona 14, Atlanta now 10 after that touchdown directed by the rookie Matt Ryan. And Ryan, the rookie, and the veteran Kurt Warner sharing some thoughts before the game. And I'm sure that Matt Ryan, who is so studious in his approach to the game, has taken a page or two from Kurt Warner's book.
Yeah, there's no question. When we asked Kurt about Matt, and he said, you know, the thing that impresses me most about him is even when he makes a mistake, he comes back and you can't tell it. You cannot tell. He's not tentative the next time out there. And exactly what happened today. He threw the interception on the first pass, came right back, and has played really well.
Canaan's kickoff will reach the end zone. Arrington downs it for the touchback. On February 1st, the world will watch history made as Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band take the field for their first Super Bowl performance ever. The Bridgestone Super Bowl 43 halftime show featuring Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. That'll be February 1st, only on NBC.
Can't wait for that. I'll be on the pirate ship down there in Tampa watching the show. It'll be great.
Tying an NFL record in the postseason, joining Favre, Elway, and Bradshaw. Decent company.
Yeah, how about that?
Are his numbers on the day.
Haven't seen quite as much from Edgerrin James, now back in the I formation.
Well, maybe that's why. Hit in the backfield, falls forward back to the line of scrimmage. Let's go down to Tiki.
Guys, we just found out that Anquan Boldin just had some cramps. Now, even though it's generally not humid in Arizona, it's a little bit humid down here on the field. I'm just standing around and I'm sweating a little bit. So hopefully he took in a lot of water and he's going to be able to continue the rest of this game.
Can you call that a workout, Tiki? Are you that a cardio day for you?
I'll take it.
You have to open the roof for you. Boldin on the field. Kurt Warner. Protection breaks down and he dumps it off incomplete. Avoided the sack but unable to complete it. It's going to bring up 3rd and 10. And John Abraham
he made the point that if I don't tackle Kurt Warner's arms, even though I think I have a sack, I won't have a sack. See, there he missed the arm, and he said that's what Kurt Warner does. He has a way of just taking it and like pitching it out there, and it's incomplete instead of a sack.
Abraham was 16.5 sacks in the regular season, third in the NFL behind Ware and Porter. Warner across the middle, up for grabs and intercepted. On the deflection, picked off by Atlanta. It was Chivas Jackson that came up with it on the deflection, off the hands of the receiver into the arms of Jackson.
Spread formation, so Warner has to get this thing out quickly, and the receiver just simply did not get his head turned around. Jeremy Urban, I don't know if he was looking perhaps to try and get some kind of a rub or a pick inside there, but he clearly was not looking for the ball, and Kurt Warner has to be upset. You know, they talked about Kurt Warner, and he gets on these receivers. You know, you think he's such a nice guy and all that stuff. He will wear these guys out when they make a mistake like that. That was a big one.
Well, Arizona's first touchdown of the game came after a Matt Ryan interception. And now Atlanta trying to return the favor. From the 23-yard line. Ryan on the out. Complete. Caught by Marcus Pollard as we've reached the 2-minute warning. 1:57 left first half. Arizona clinging to the lead.
If you look at the last 6 months, I think you'll agree that the production growth opportunity that we have for us would. What is that?
That's the money you could be saving with Geico. Tell me who's watching.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Can you believe that we can text, email, surf the internet, even update your Facebook status right from the palm of your hand? At Sprint, we want everyone to experience all of the incredible things a 3G phone can do on a big 3G network. The wireless revolution continues. Come join us.
Introducing the Samsung Rant for $49.99. It's the fully loaded phone on America's largest, most dependable 3G network.
I can see things.
You had a twin brother, but he died when you were both in the womb.
This Friday, for him to be born, he's trying to use you to enter our world. She must die. Rated PG-13.
E-Trade is a leading online brokerage with everything you need to take control. You can trade stocks in 6 global markets, even China. Earn yields way higher than the national average from E-Trade Bank. Transfer funds in and out with a click. Get quotes and trade stocks anytime, anywhere with E-Trade Mobile Pro. All this, plus help when you need it. Take control. Join the 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
Wow.
Welcome to Chili's.
Try Chili's Big Mouth Bites, the 4 mini burgers with giant layers of flavor, including bacon, jalapeno ranch dressing, cheese, and sauteed onions. They're hot and juicy, and they're at Chili's. Pepper and some fun.
Earlier today, there were multiple reports that LaDainian Tomlinson's groin injury was worse than previously known. Well, here he is walking into Qualcomm Stadium a short while ago, and Andrea Kramer reports that he's been receiving extensive treatment and was getting ready to get taped up and work up, and that North Turner expects him to play. So he was expected to warm up shortly. And coming ahead on the Toyota Halftime Show, look back at our first half here, look ahead to the Chargers Colts, and the latest on LT, plus Al Michaels' conversation with Tony Dungy about what the future may hold for the Colts coach. Matt Ryan has hit 15 of his last 18 passes. Here he hands to Turner. Turner hit. Dansby, who is almost like he's keyed on Turner every play today.
That's a collision. I tell you, it's not for the faint of heart to come up and hit Michael Turner, because even if you're a big stud linebacker like Carlos Dansby, you're going to knock your helmet off every once in a while and make that kind of play. But Tom, the one thing I would say is, despite the early struggles, Atlanta has stayed with the running game. Despite the early success, Arizona has gotten away from theirs.
And that was a strange looking.
Tell you, Matt Ryan must be doing a number with his snap count up there.
Gabe Watson, that's 2 or 3 times he's come across prematurely, although they haven't all been called, have they?
No.
Offside, defense, number 98, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, they talked about trying to get penetration. They talked about the ability to stop this run by getting in the backfield and disrupt those pulling guards, disrupt the tight ends coming across or the fullbacks coming through. But sometimes, and it's amazing for a young quarterback, you know, the snap count may be the last thing on your mind, but he's maintained his poise and played the complete game.
So 1st and 5 from the 8-yard line. Play action fake. Ryan's pass overshoots Roddy White, who had broken free in the end zone.
Too safe. Too safe. You know, I know you don't want to make a big mistake here, but this is wide open. You can't miss this throw. As well as he's played, this one is a big mistake. He had to drop it over the top. It's not an easy throw. He had to try and throw it around Antrell Roll, but you can't miss it by 10 yards. And that's exactly what he did.
Okay. Here we go. White to the sideline.
Interrupt me
Ryan from the gun.
Yep, very good. Thank you.
And play is stopped with a timeout taken by Atlanta. 1:12 left in the first half. Atlanta threatening to take the lead.
2.
Raise your 2. All in. Thank you, gentlemen. Come to daddy. Made with juicy white meat chicken McNuggets. Oh. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, welcome. Chicken McNuggets?
Yes.
What's a party without the dip, right?
Well, Atlanta threatening here, as you said, they've stayed with their running game, whereas so much success early for Arizona. Why have they not gone back to it?
I'm not exactly sure, but you can count for sure that Atlanta will never get away from it. And now the pressure to make a play right on Matt Ryan.
Ryan hands off to Turner. A couple of tough yards.
Well, Antonio Smith, and they've got all the big boys in there for the Cardinals today. They've been playing Gabe Watson. They don't really have as many of the pass rusher types in here because they knew they were going to have to commit fully to trying to stop this run, and now we have a big moment in the ball game.
3rd down and 4. So the Cardinals trying to prevent giving up the score after the turnover. Ryan throws it. It's complete for a first down. The catch made by White, who took the hit from Rogers Cromartie, but held on. 1st and goal, Atlanta.
Well, Roddy White missed the easy one, but caught the tough one, and Cromartie gave him a big shot and knocked him down past that first down marker, but this was well officiated here. Clearly the forward momentum was beyond the first down line. Big play right there. Antrell Roll, a former cornerback, now playing safety, unable to get there in time.
1st and goal, 2-yard line with 27 seconds left in the first half. Ryan fakes, fires, touchdown. Caught by Justin Peele, his tight end. And so the Falcons get the interception on the deflected pass and turn it into a touchdown to take the lead.
What a great call by Mike Malark here. Everybody in the building thinking run. They go with this bootleg look and just simply burn them. There's no way for the Cardinals that you don't stay backside in that situation on the goal line and protect against the run. Bold play with a rookie quarterback in the playoffs, but a great call.
Elam, the extra point attempt, and it is good. So the turnover results in the Atlanta touchdown. Matt Ryan throws the touchdown pass. Atlanta in front.
Get
more HD for less money with Turbo HD by Dish Network. That's 100% HD for only $24.99 a month. Call now and get a free HD DVR receiver upgrade. HBO and Stars free for 3 months. And $50 instant credit. Only with Turbo HD by Dish Network.
Matt Ryan getting congratulations from his offensive lineman after leading that touchdown drive.
Yeah, not such a great start to this ball game. First pass he throws, intercepted by Ralph Brown. And then he ends up with one that was almost picked off. And then he just got hot. And I think, Tom, the most impressive part of what he's done so far in this first half are the number of third downs that he's converted. And it's not been third and short. These have been some third and long situations. And Matt Ryan has just simply stepped up. He stood tall in the pocket, and he has delivered. Look at those numbers, 17 of 21 since that slow start.
Arrington is going to bring it out of the end zone. Not a great decision as he's slammed down at the 16-yard line. And don't forget, coming up, our Toyota halftime show. Guys in the studio will take a look at this first half. They'll have the latest on LT. And Al Michaels will speak with Colts coach Tony Dungy. That's all coming up at halftime.
You know, Tom, I'd be stunned if LT didn't at least make an attempt. Remember last year in the playoff game with the knee, he sat out, kept his helmet on, was heavily criticized after that one. And so you've got to think he's certainly feeling the pressure to get out there and at least make an attempt of it today. But I'll tell you, they're not hurting with Darren Sproles in there. That little guy is something else.
Let's see what the Cardinals try to do here with that quick strike offense. A little screen pass which gets next to nothing to Fitzgerald. And the fans wanted Warner to go downfield with it as they let him know that they weren't too happy with that. So Matt Ryan, the rookie quarterback, has his team in front in the first half of this NFC wild card playoff game. Coming up, Toyota halftime show, but first, these messages from your local NBC station.
Welcome to the Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota, moving forward.
At halftime, the Falcons now flying slightly higher than the Cardinals and leading 17-14. Bob Costas, Matt Millen, Jerome Bettis. We'll talk about this game in a moment, but first, let's look in on the scene at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. There is LaDainian Tomlinson, came out moments ago to begin warming up. We expect that he will play. How well and for how long, we don't know. There have been multiple reports, which he has declined to comment on, that the groin injury, which was reported earlier this week, first they said it was an abdominal strain, then clarified as some sort of groin injury. New reports say that possibly there is a torn tendon, which obviously would be much more severe. When he came into the stadium, Andrea Kramer asked him about it. He declined to comment as to the specifics of the injury. He would say only that he has received extensive treatment and that, as you see, he would get taped up, go out and warm up, and hope to play. So we'll keep our eye on it. That obviously is the second game of the doubleheader, the Colts and the Chargers. Now on to this one. It started out very well for the Cardinals, Bus. They were leading 14-3 at one point.
You know, and Atlanta came back, but I was so surprised at how Arizona came in this game plan. Ken Whisenhunt said, we're not going to throw the football around. We're going to run the ball with Edgerrin James, and we're going to establish the line of scrimmage.
And what they did, they started to run it, and then they used the running game to their advantage and came back with the flea flicker, a form of play action, get the safeties a bite, 6 down the left sideline. Now, they didn't forget about the other half of their running game, which is Anquan Boldin. Remember we talked about in the pregame how he's going to throw it short and then he's going to take off and run 67 yards down the left sideline after a 4-yard pass.
Yeah, 71-yard play, 4 in the air and 67 on the ground. But then the pick, it wasn't really Warner's fault, off the receiver, and Jackson grabs it.
Chevis Jackson makes the pick, and really one turnover, both sides. You have one for Atlanta. You have one on the other side. We got ourselves a football game in the second half.
You know, as you pointed out in the pregame show, Matt Ryan has matured throughout this first year in the league. Down 14-3. He's a rookie on the road, first playoff game, not rattled.
Malarkey is doing an outstanding job here with this young quarterback.
Okay, we move on now to the line of scrimmage where the crew wraps up its stay in Big Piney, Wyoming, where a transfer student from sunny Florida talks about playing in one of the coldest places in the United States.
The wind never stops blowing.
ever. It's always cold. It was 40 below last winter. Plus wind, it was like 60 below.
James, coming from Florida at the beginning of the year, was interesting. The cold weather he struggled with, and he was whining a little bit with it.
When you get hit in this kind of weather, it hurts more, a lot more. I wear like 3 pairs of pants to go outside and get the mail. It's ridiculous, but as freezing as it is,
He brings a different enthusiasm and excitement.
I love every second of it.
The NFL Pro Bowl, presented by State Farm, is coming to NBC on Sunday, February 8th at 4:30 Eastern. 2008 NFL MVP Peyton Manning, entering the stadium here for his wildcard weekend matchup against the Chargers, has, logically enough, been voted the starting quarterback for the AFC squad. Manning has been selected to the Pro Bowl for the 9th time now in his career. Well, Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy are among the most successful quarterback-coach tandems in NFL history, and they now stand 4 victories away from a second Super Bowl title in 3 years. A subplot, though, is the question about Dungy's future, as once again he says he plans to decide whether he'll retire only after the Colts play their final game this postseason. Last night, Al Michaels sat down with Dungy to discuss his future.
Do you know in your mind if you'll be back or not back next year, right now?
I'm leaning a certain way, but every year I've kind of learned, and my wife told me, don't make the decision and then go back. So take some time. I told Jim Irsay after the Super Bowl that I was leaving, and he said, take a week and think about it. And I changed my mind in that week. So that's what I'm going to do after our last game, whenever that is. I'm going to take a week because I want to make sure that I'm ready, because when I do leave, I'm going to be leaving. I'm not taking a year off or 2 years off, so I want to make sure.
So you're saying when that final game is over, whenever it is, that you will, a week later, have the definitive answer?
Yeah, I will.
If you do come back, what will be the reasons that you'll come back?
Because we've got a great team, we've got a fun atmosphere, I'm working for the best owner in the league, and we've got a chance to win next year. We've got the MVP of the league that you're working with. There's so many reasons to come back, and I still enjoy coaching.
Once we're up on them, they're going to gamble even more, so we just got to be smart. We'll make them pay. Good luck.
If you don't come back, what will be the primary factors in not returning?
It would be because I want to be more of a parent, be around my family a little bit more, watch my son play his senior year in high school football, and because I want to do some things with young men, some hands-on stuff. We had a very, very tough year in Indianapolis this past year, the worst summer we had for homicides. Our graduation rate is 19% in the public schools. And I think there's some things I can do in terms of giving some young men some direction and some hands-on things that I would really enjoy doing and I think is needed.
Honestly, if I'm reading between the lines here, Tony, I'm thinking that you're not going to be back next year. Am I reading something into it that you're not saying?
You probably are, because, and I'll say this, every year at this time, the last 5 years, I thought I wasn't going to be back. And then after a week, I decided that I wanted to be. So that's why I'm not reading anything into it yet.
Do you care about your legacy, what it will be?
Not really. I'm happy that we won a Super Bowl, but if we hadn't, I wouldn't say, oh, well, it's 28 wasted years. It's been great. It's been fun working with Chuck Noll and Denny Green, Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Polian. It has been tremendous, and I've enjoyed it probably more than I've given, so I've gotten a lot out of it.
Tony Dungy hoping he doesn't have to make that decision, no matter what it is, until early February. Back to Tom and Chris for the second half from Arizona after this, and we'll see you later on.
This has been the Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota, moving forward.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Warner for the end zone for Fitzgerald. Touchdown!
This opportunity is not guaranteed to anyone to happen again.
This team is special. You really have to take advantage. You have to win it now.
It's been a good season so far, but a perfect season would end with 4 more wins.
So we're ready to start the second half with Atlanta leading Arizona 17-14 in this NFC wild card game from Glendale, Arizona. First half stats, one of the goals of the Falcons was ball possession in order to keep Kurt Warner and company off the field, and they succeeded in that.
They certainly did, and I tell you, due in large part to the fact that Matt Ryan was able to convert so many third downs. He started off not so well, but completed his last 4 third downs, and that really was the difference as they took the lead.
Rackers with a second half kickoff. Norwood takes it in the end zone. Darius Norwood found a little lane and is across the 25 to the 27-yard line as we go back to Tiki Barber.
I talked to Atlanta head coach Mike Smith right before halftime, and he said the turning point in the second quarter came when they went to that hurry-up offense. Matt Ryan got off to a slow start, and he chatted with him a little bit just to calm him down and get his nerve. He also said no matter what their yard per carry, he's going to stick with the running game, which is contrast to what happened on the other side with the Arizona coach. Ken Wisenhunt said that they need to get back to that running game because they had such success. And lastly, a quick update on Anquan Boldin. They think that he has a strain in his hamstring. His return is now questionable.
All right, thank you, Tiki. First down for the Falcons here. And a Matt Ryan pass on first, and it's complete to Justin Peele. And the pulse of this game, well, after an interception, Fitzgerald with the touchdown catch, another big Kurt Warner touchdown pass to Boldin. But then Atlanta stayed with it. Matt Ryan found his rhythm, and the last touchdown was after a turnover. It was scored by Michael Turner on the ground. And just to back up what Tiki was saying, Atlanta stayed with the run. Turner in his first quarter had 7 carries for 11 yards, but the second quarter they kept going to him, 8 carries for 31. And Arizona, 33 yards from Edgerrin James, and there's a turnover right into the hands of Roll, who will waltz in for the touchdown. It just popped out of the arms into the hand of Anquan Roll, who had the easy Arizona score.
One of the defensive linemen for the Cardinals just shot the gap and completely caught him off guard. That was Darnell Dockett using his quickness. And Tom, we've seen this throughout the course of the game. Anticipating snap counts, beating these offensive linemen off the ball, and what a way to start the second half.
Incredible as Roll, to the applause of the front office, takes it 27 yards for the score. And so Rackers back for the extra points. Wow, that barely sneaks through the right upright. But Roll picked it off in midair and took it 27 yards for the go-ahead score. (21-17) in Phoenix. Meanwhile, in San Diego, LaDainian Tomlinson has completed his workout. He told Norv Turner, who then told Andrea Kramer, that he would play against the Colts later on tonight. Here's the handoff to Turner. Again, tackled in the backfield by Dansby, who's been shadowing him the entire game.
The Cardinals only had 10 guys on the field as they got this timeout just before the snap of the ball, but it was gone. It was going to be a touchdown, Michael Turner, and that timeout saved them.
And then the tackle of Turner in the backfield. Second and long. Turner out, Norwood in for Atlanta. Here's Ryan. Hit as he delivered the pass and into traffic and caught by White. Strong hands by Roddy White to hold on to that one. Good for the first down. There is a flag on the play.
Holding. Number 73. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
Harvey Dahl with a hold negates a first down pass.
Well, Harvey Dahl, who was just beaten on the play before by Darnell Dockett, now gets beaten with a quick jump again and has no choice but to try and hold. Look at Dockett as he goes the bull rush, and for Dahl, he has no chance but to hold on, and it negates a big play.
Second fewest, tied for second fewest in the NFL, so a rare penalty makes it 2nd and 20. Matt Ryan being chased. Pass incomplete. That was Berry that was bearing down on Matt Ryan.
Well, Bertrand Berry is once again working the edge and working the snap counts off the edge. That time Obi Mahaley had a chance to chip him, and I think that Claybo may have been anticipating some help on that play when he did not chip him, and it allowed Bertrand Berry to come around the edge. And right now, this right side of the offensive line, they both work for minimum wage, but Harvey Dahl and Tyson Claybo are struggling.
Now known for their ferocious play. Meanwhile, the play clock and the flag's down.
Boy, the Falcons look shaky.
Yeah, they are.
They're
coming out with a very shaky start to the second half.
Delay a game. Offense. Half the distance. Third down.
So delay a game will put them back even further in. They got to maintain their poise. Now, this is kind of the way they started the game.
That's exactly right. And now you cannot make a huge mistake here. I would probably anticipate a run with a rookie quarterback here.
From their own 5. Ryan's going to pass it from the end zone. Way downfield, but way off the mark as well. Not even close. Jenkins was 10 yards or so away from it. There's a hold on Berry that wasn't.
Yeah, and that's called a safety, Tom. A hold in the end zone. If that had been called, and Bertrand Berry justifiably is saying, where's the hold on that one? And that would have been 2 points for the Cardinals.
Sam Baker got away with one. So Kanan now will punt from the back of his end zone. Roll is the deep man along with Breston. Kanan sends it on its way. High boot. And Breston hit it before he had a chance to field it, and the flag immediately comes down. "47 yards on the punt, but Breston never had a chance to field it really before he was hit by DeCoud.
Thomas DeCoud with a shot at a
interference
big play.
With the opportunity to complete the catch. Number 22 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10, Arizona, timeout.
I think it was a good call. Absolutely it was. But it's kind of worth that shot. You know, as a guy, you're going for a big play, and you can't really fault him too much here. Sam Baker, the rookie, over here working against Bertrand Berry. Watch the difference in the get-off. Berry moves a clear step before Baker does, but there's the hold, and that would have been 2 points and a safety, and the Falcons would have had to kick the ball back to the Cardinals. Huge no call there.
He's holding me, you saw Berry say after the play. Here's the running. Again, only the second carry since the first quarter for Edgerrin James, who was so impressive in the first, and that one, that's a pretty good gain on first down.
Yeah, and the significance of the play now by Darnell Dockett has allowed the Arizona Cardinals to take a deep breath, get back to their running game. Maybe it would have been much tougher had, in fact, they come out there and were constantly playing catch-up.
And, of course, the third quarter has belonged to the Cardinals through the regular season. Most points in the third by any team in the league.
Good catch by Kurt Warner there, the double count.
Blitz was coming, still showing blitz, and here they come. Warner, it's picked up. And Fitzgerald unable to make the one-handed stab. Next week, all your favorite NBC shows are all new all week with the premieres of Superstars of Dance, The Biggest Loser, and How We Do It. It's all starting tomorrow night here on NBC.
Did that kind of startle you that Fitzgerald didn't catch that ball?
Yeah, one-handed. I thought that's his trademark.
We saw Spider-Man, you know, do that in the past. It just didn't stick that time.
So far, we haven't seen Boldin on the field. Tiki reporting that he had a strained hamstring. So one of their big weapons unable to go here so far. Another blitz comes from the Falcons. Warner, that should be interference, I thought.
Wow. Wow.
Chris Houston, I think, got away with one, did he not?
Well, they're letting him play, as sometimes happens in the playoffs. Houston looked like he had a pretty good hold right there. If that's not holding or pass interference,
or all of the above.
Oh man, that's wow.
Well, that's 2 penalties that Atlanta's gotten away with here in the third quarter so far.
Man, oh man.
So it's 4th down and a field goal attempt upcoming from Neil Rackers.
Boy, if they don't get off the field here, that was close.
Play clock, got it away. 51 yards, but no good. Well, wide left. So Rackers, as they hurried out on the attempt, 51-yarder is no good. And Atlanta breathes a sigh of relief as they gave the Cardinals great field position, but it doesn't cost them any points, and they'll take over when we come back to Arizona. Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, and Thomas Dimitroff to his left.
Yeah, it was the grand slam between Mike Smith and Michael Turner and Matt Ryan. They got them all right this year.
Rich McKay was up there too in that shot as Michael Turner gets the call, and as was the case at the start of the game, the Arizona defense keeps Turner under control. O'Kiefer made that hit.
Tom, one of the things you always see in the NFL is that the running game gets better as the game goes along. You know, those defensive linemen, they're big guys and they're hustling and they're making plays in the first half. But if you just keep pounding it, more often than not, some big plays will happen in the fourth quarter.
And you see how the offense has sputtered for the Falcons so far in the third. Ryan tried to change that. White grabs it, complete. But no chance to run after the catch with Rogers Cromartie right in his face.
Well, a little battle going on, and this is the 3rd or 4th time now they've come underneath the rookie Cromartie. And sometimes those rookies get a little anxious and may want to try and jump one at some point.
An NFL rookie record in the postseason for Matt Ryan, who beat Slingin' Sammy Baugh's record. What about that? One of the NFL's greats, Sammy Baugh, now eclipsed by Matt Ryan. Here's Ryan's pass, and it's through the hands of White. It's going almost exclusively to Roddy White. And he's going to go 3 and out here.
Boy, Jarius Norwood just got trucked on this one by Gerald Hayes. Watch this, coming right up, and Norwood, who signed the scat back, almost got buried into Matt Ryan. It's one of the things you have to be able to do as a running back in this league is pick up that blitz, and he almost got the backside that time of Norwood.
Kanan ready to boot it on 4th down. Off the side of his foot, Preston runs up on it, and it'll go out of bounds. That's only a 31-yard punt. On February 1st, the world will watch history made as Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, will take the field, their first Super Bowl performance. The Bridgestone Super Bowl 43 halftime show, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And of course, that'll be Super Bowl Sunday, February 1st, only on NBC.
We are excited to have the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl right after that.
Yeah.
The John Madden bus doesn't make it over to Hawaii, so I get a little free trip.
That's right. Why not?
Yeah.
You've earned it. Since you're on television about every day of the week, as I can tell.
Thank you very much.
Tiki?
Hey, what's happening, guys? You guys know that Pat Tillman was one of the great players in Arizona Cardinals history. And they have the memorial Pat Tillman Freedom Plaza up here that all the fans come to. As we all know, he was killed in 2004. He was part of that elite Army Ranger unit. And he's in the Ring of Honor as well, but there's a lot of tribute paid to Pat Tillman in the stadium. It goes great with all the holidays and the soldiers overseas.
A lot of our members of the armed forces overseas catching this NFL playoff game as Edgerrin James gets the call again. And a couple of yards short of the first down, and the light bulb went on. They'd gone back to the running game that was successful in the first quarter.
Yeah, they sure did. Tom, I want to get back to Pat Tillman for just a minute. You know, he's going to come up this year for a Hall of Fame vote. And if Pat Tillman doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, who does? Here's a guy that turned down millions of dollars, a 3-year, $36 million deal to go fight for our country. I hope that that is the vote that they will take. I mean, this guy is the very essence of what we all hope the NFL and its players will ultimately be.
Well said. Here's a big third down pass from Warner. It's complete. Spock, the tight end, has it, and it's a first down for Arizona.
Well, you're going to see a little bootleg action now, and it's one of the nice things about being able to have some sort of a running game is that now you bring in some of these plays, some of those bootleg plays, some of the play action plays, and it's not just on Kurt Warner to drop back and throw the football.
Into his own man, James bounces off of him. Finally, the Atlanta defense reacts and gets him down.
It's the second time today that we've seen an offensive lineman make a hit on Edgerrin James. And pretty good hit, too. That time over there it was Levi Brown, who just unable to make the block. You know, for Levi Brown, he was a high draft pick, and they certainly like his development, but he was one of those guys that in college was one of those real nasty players, finishing plays, little late hits, and all that kind of stuff. And that part of his game really hasn't shown up here in Arizona.
Play action fake from Warner. Plenty of time. And the pass is complete to Smith, his fullback. Run out of bounds by Coy Wire.
Pretty good day for Edgerrin James. Yards after contact. That does include his own players there, so he may have padded his stats a little or hurt his stats, I guess, with that. You know, he's such an energetic guy, and it was interesting talking to Kurt Warner about him. Of course, he was benched earlier this season. He said, I just kept talking to him because I knew at some point this year he was going to have to be a factor for us to win, and we just kept him engaged and kept talking to him. And he's still there now for him when it matters most.
Yeah, kept his head in the game, and they've used him effectively today. And here's Kurt Warner, 37 years old, ducking out of bounds with a first down.
Well, I'm sure Kurt's not so thrilled to be running the ball at this point. But we just talked about Levi Brown. That time he did a nice job on John Abraham, pushing him past the pile. And it wasn't like Kurt was going to put his head down or anything right there, but he got out and picked up the first down.
Well, and everybody in the stadium's glad he didn't.
Yeah, maybe other than Matt Leinart.
Interesting, though, they've used James in the running game again, and they've had a couple of play action fakes and passes, and here's James again on the run, crossing midfield and still churning his way close to another first down. Foxworth and Malloy took two of him to get him down.
Well, you see the bounce out ability here of Edgerrin James. This play was intended to go inside behind the fullback. He didn't like it, but even at this age, he still has the ability to get out around the corner. He went back and he talked to the coaches, and he had a list of plays, and he really likes that stretch play. And I said, well, did you tell the coaches that's the play that you want to run more? And he said, that's what got me in trouble in the first place. I don't make many suggestions around here.
Well, they turned that one into the stretch play and picked up a first down. And looks like a timeout's been, well, we have an injury timeout, I believe. Looks like one of the Falcon players is shaken up. It's going to be Foxworth, Dominic Foxworth.
And Tom, that is significant right there, because one thing the Falcons do not have is much depth in the secondary at all. Foxworth, a big addition to this team, picked up just before opening day, and now they are really thin back there.
Placed by Brent Grimes, and here's Hightower with a carry. Tim Hightower, the rookie from Richmond, who's been a touchdown specialist, a pounder at the running back spot for Arizona, with 10 touchdown runs this season. The native of Alexandria, Virginia.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Tim Hightower. Talking about the highs and lows of his rookie season. And I said, what was the worst moment? He said, in practice. So one day I was supposed to block Adrian Wilson coming around the edge, and I'd never seen anything like that in my life. he hit me so hard I was flying, and I could hear my coach, Maurice Carthon, screaming at me before I hit the ground.
Put him airborne. Warner finds his man. This is Urban, who had the deflection earlier, which resulted in a interception turned into a touchdown by Atlanta. Catches this one.
Well, Urban makes a nice play. They came on a slot blitz that time, and Kurt, as he does so well, you know, he talks about he really prefers teams to blitz him. He thinks the strength of his game is the ability to read it and get it out of his hand quickly. That time, perfect execution by Kurt Warner.
Lots of experience, quick release, result in plays like this. Out of the backfield to James. He's hard to bring down too. Brooking and Malloy combine on the hit.
Nice job that time. Look at the wall off inside. Not an illegal play, but certainly a play that a lot of teams use. You come in there, you try and create a bit of a crowd, and that time the man coverage got burned because of the pick play.
Well, once again, the third quarter looking good for the Cardinals. They got a freak play and fumble recovery in midair for a touchdown, and now they're driving down the field as Warner hands it to Hightower. Hightower breaks a tackle, lowers his head, and pounds inside the 20-yard line where Lawyer Malloy makes the stop.
Well, I tell you what, that was a quick step around the corner, wasn't it? Then another quick step by Lawyer Malloy, who comes in. This is what he likes doing best. And on the outside, Larry Fitzgerald, not just a receiver, he's a pretty good holder too, by golly. he had a good grip there.
It looked like he was going to dance with him for a while.
But you get inside that plate, a lot of times the officials can't see it.
Draw play, Hightower. Atlanta not fooled. At the 18-yard line, Coy Wire knocks him down.
But the Arizona Cardinals, after being dominated on time of possession in the first half, now has sort of turned the tables here by getting back to their running game a little bit. And you have to give credit to Ken Whisenhunt here, because he is a guy, remember, coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He really wants to establish a team that can run the football and pound it in there, but it just hasn't been their MO this season.
Whisenhunt in his second year as head coach here after coming over from the Steelers, their offensive coordinator. Warner buys a little time and then finds a receiver, Breston. Jamal Fudge prevented the touchdown, but here's Kurt Warner at his best.
Strictly the offensive line. Look at this protection. That has to be at least 5 seconds worth of protection, and for Kurt Warner, you give him time to survey the field for that long? No way. Look at him standing there, make the throw. Yes, he took the big hit from Grady Jackson, and that's about, let's call it 399 plus.
Well, Grady Jackson,
right on top.
Well, they tell us he knows food. He can't cook, but he knows everything about food. Here's Hightower racing for the touchdown.
Well, we saw the Cardinals make this mistake earlier, and this time it's the Falcons' turn. They bite down inside. Hightower kicks it to the outside, and they're simply not there. Eric Coleman took the bait, went inside, and they bounce it out around him.
Racker's extra point is good. Impressive drive by the Arizona Cardinals, who scored twice here in the third quarter. Tim Hightower, the rookie from Richmond, racing to the corner of the end zone to pad the lead for the Arizona Cardinals. James set it up. Hightower finishes it off, 28-17. Hightower with a touchdown, as Kurt Warner was 5 for 5 on the drive to 5 different receivers, none of whom caught a ball in the first half. Impressive drive by the Cardinals, and the kickoff by Rackers through the end zone for the touchback.
Well, after nothing longer than a 5-play drive in the first half, look at this drive here, converting 4 third-down plays, 14 plays, 76 yards. And it was Kurt Warner, it was the running game. That's about as good as the Arizona Cardinals have looked all season. And it came in a big, big moment. Tremendous pass protection. This offensive line, this perhaps is their finest game of the season, I think, so far.
Now the Falcons and their rookie quarterback in an unaccustomed position, having to play from behind. Going to go deep on first down the sideline. And intercepted. Intended for Roddy White and picked off by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, the rookie from Tennessee State.
Matt Ryan held it too long. Roddy White had a chance, but watch the play on the ball here. One of the great athletes ever to go through the combine. Ran like a 4.29 40. You could see the catch-up speed, but watch the vertical. I mean, he just went up and got that football. And for Matt Ryan, a huge mistake. They ran an out and up trying to take advantage of the rookie, but he held the ball too long.
He's going to keep it too, I think. No, he's going to throw it in the stands.
A clear rookie mistake there.
Yeah.
You definitely want to save an interception from the playoffs.
Second interception of the day, pitched by Matt Ryan, the rookie quarterback of the Falcons. Third turnover by Atlanta. And Edgerrin James back to work. The first 2 turnovers by the Falcons resulted in Arizona touchdowns, and now the third.
Boy, I tell you, this Atlanta defense has to hold on now, because you know there has to be a frustration level going. The Cardinals are sky high, and you're looking at a possible blowout here if they can put together another drive against a worn-out defense.
157 yards today and last week. Edgerrin James is back. And just in time. Tail back in the eye as James gets the call, and this time the Falcons ready for him. Stop him at the line of scrimmage. First on the scene was Chris Houston.
And I know certainly Edgerrin James is motivated by the fact that they're in the playoffs and he wants to win a championship. But there is also a chip on his shoulder about the size of Cleveland out there, because he is clearly upset with how he's been used. He wants to go somewhere else. He wants to run the ball more, and he has been frustrated, and he's taken his frustration out on the Falcons tonight.
Third down play. Warner backs away, changes the play perhaps. Play clock at 3. Pumps once, still looking downfield as he rolls to his right and tosses it away. Caught by Rackers on the sideline. Nice catch. You say kickers don't have good hands?
All the time. For Kurt Warner, there's a good understanding. He was out there. There was not a single receiver anywhere in sight, but outside the pocket, you throw it away and you take the punt. But big moment in the game there for Atlanta's defense. We just talked about it. That could have been a huge momentum turn here. Still very much in it now.
So the defense holds. It comes through, forces the punt by Graham. Douglas, the rookie, deep.
Wow.
Nearly blocked. Douglas says get away from it, but it takes kind of a lateral bounce and will be downed inside the 15-yard line.
Well, I thought if Troy Bierman laid out there, I think he might have gotten that one. Sometimes tough for a rookie to take that kind of a chance in a playoff game, but he gets through here clearly. And instead of laying out and making that block, he tried to pull off of it. I'm sure not wanting to make the huge mistake, but I'm not so sure if he lays out on that one, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, as it is, the Falcons will take over. Less than a minute to go in the third. Turner again and draws a crowd, surrounded and taken down.
I tell you, Bertrand Berry has just played a fantastic game today. He is staying in his post. He is staying backside. Here they're going to come with that old cutback play one more time. Bertrand Berry's not chasing anything. He has been a nightmare with his pass rush, and he is doing a fantastic job against the run on that backside tonight.
11th season from Notre Dame, and The Arizona coach is preaching stay at home, and they have today for the most part. Norwood gets the call to the 20-yard line as the final seconds tick away from the third quarter. Atlanta's glad to see it end. They lost a fumble. They went 3 and out, and an interception in the third quarter. And that'll do it. That's the end of the third quarter. Arizona leading Atlanta 28-17. And NBC's NFL Wildcard Playoff continues after these messages from your local NBC station. True to form, Arizona good in the third quarter. They scored 14-0 for Atlanta, the best third quarter team in the NFL. Now 3rd and 6 for the Falcons. Ryan in that third quarter was only 2 of 6 for 7 yards and an interception. And this pass is too tall for his intended receiver, Michael Jenkins. And a punt will be upcoming.
Well, after all the third downs that Matt Ryan was able to convert in the first half and the way he finished there, it has been a different story here. And really, it has been since the play by Darnell Dockett that caused fumble that it seems to have unsettled the Falcons on offense. They just seem completely uncomfortable since that happened.
Kanan in punt formation. Picks up the low snap and sends it to Breaston, who calls a fair catch at his own 45-yard line. NBC's NFL Wildcard Playoffs brought to you by Chevy and American Revolution. By Vizio, America's HD TV company. To learn more, log on to Vizio.com. And by Wendy's. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's. Today's aerial coverage brought to you by Duracell. Tom Hammond, Chris Collinsworth, Tiki Barber. First NFL playoff game. It's the NFC wildcard matchup, 4-5 matchup between Arizona and Atlanta. And Arizona leading 28-17 after a 14-0 third quarter. Hand off to Edgerrin James. This is the formula as a flag comes flying in. This is the formula that's worked for Arizona today. Edgerrin James, pound, 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 and then hit a big pass. Boy, wire on that tackle.
Personal foul, face mask, number 50, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Remember, there's no incidental face mask anymore, so you have to grab and turn it, and there is no question about that one.
Lucky his head's still on. That's Curtis Lofton, the rookie from Oklahoma.
And this has not happened much to this team this year. Defense has committed only 14 penalties, and that is the fewest in the NFL. They don't allow big plays. They don't beat themselves. And so far today, well, let's give the offense a little credit after that fumble. That one's the one that sort of turned the tide here.
36-yard line for Arizona. Warner trying to set up a screen, it appeared, but Atlanta had all kinds of penetration into the backfield, and that one did not look good from the start. J.J. Arrington on the reception from Kurt Warner. Chauncey Davis just about got there as soon as he did.
Yeah, and Kendall Moorhead did as well. They just almost read that one out. And now for Arizona, you don't want to get too conservative with this thing. Remember, the Atlanta Falcons have a very explosive offense. You've got everything going your way. All you need probably is another 10 yards or so with a legitimate shot at the field goal. Don't rein it in now. You've made your living as an offensive unit. Keep firing.
Blitz comes from Atlanta. Pass juggled and caught by Urban, but he'll only get a couple of yards out of it. The Atlanta Falcons have not been able to sack Kurt Warner today, and John Abraham, third best in the league, has been controlled by the offensive line of the Cardinals and the quick release of Kurt Warner.
Yeah, in fairness to John Abraham, he's been paid a lot of attention, and there's Mike Gandy. It's his birthday today, and so he's gotten one of the best birthday presents ever if they can keep John Abraham off the sack charts.
Yeah, Abraham had a birthday present planned for him, but so far it's still wrapped. Warner on 3rd and long, sandwiched by the rush, and then his intended receiver Breaston fell down.
Every time that the Falcons need to play defensively. They've dialed up this blitz, trying to come from his backside there, and it is hurried Kurt Warner. I thought that was what changed the first half when they quit sitting back and they started bringing pressure. So maybe they're going to try and get back to that package again here, at least on third down. And that stop kept them out of field goal range, and now they're going to have to punt.
Seen quite a few slips on this field today. As Tiki reported earlier, it was Saad was changed out and brought in. Here's Finneran letting it bounce. There's a flag down. Took a great Arizona bounce. It'll be down at about the 1 yard line. And we'll check the penalty.
I think one of the Falcons players on the gunner basically just tackled him, slung him to the ground. It was after the kick, so it just backed them up from here if that's what they called.
It looks like it's going to be a hold against the Falcons. And still some confusion here.
I think they're trying to figure out, was it pre-kick or post-kick?
During the kick, holding. Number 23, correction on the offense, kicking team. That penalty will be assessed at the end of the play.
And there's the hold. We'll be right back.
My nickname's Matty Ice. It started back when I was in high school. They tease you every once in a while about the nickname, but for the most part, you know it's a good nickname when people really only start calling you that, and that's been the case around the locker room.
Well, they'll need to be Matty Ice now because pinned deep down in the fourth quarter. It's the third time today an Arizona punt has put Atlanta deep inside the 10-10.
I think you need to go hard count here to slow down this pass rush a little bit.
From his end zone, he will be able to get it off. No, they say no. So
that's a safety. Good call.
Antonio Smith, the first man to wrap him up. And in the grass called, in the end zone, 2 points on the safety.
Well, almost a safety earlier, but this one was clearly in the grass. The official called it, and for Matt Ryan, you simply cannot hold the ball that long in the end zone. That's a good call by the officials.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 90 on the defense, Arizona. Excessive celebration. That penalty will be enforced on the safety.
We talked about it there before the snap. You knew the Cardinals were going to be trying to rip off the ball. They've been doing it the entire time. And they were able to get it there. Kind of hard to blame anybody on defense for celebrating after the day that they've had. Yeah, well, okay, well, maybe that's too much. I said, I've seen enough of that. He gave him a couple of Buck and Bronco rides, but he said the third and fourth, that was too much.
Are you surprised at the defense of the Cardinals today and how well they've played?
You know, Tom, it has been, they have taken advantage of this crowd noise. And all night long, we have simply seen the Cardinals anticipating the snap count and Matt Ryan not doing enough with his snap count to try and slow him down a little bit. Early on, they got him offside some. They haven't done it here. But that wasn't so much that case there. It was really Matt Ryan holding the ball too long. You're at a key point in the ball game. You have to be able to get rid of it. And as great a year as he's had, he's made some rookie mistakes here this afternoon.
Cardinals hosting their first playoff game in 61 years, 60 seasons. And they've run off 16 straight points now to lead it 30-17. And on the free kick, Kanan is going to punt. Punts it high toward Breston, who fields it, drops it, picks it up again. And turned around, hit hard, short of the 15-yard line. And Mike Smith's had a rough afternoon in his first playoff game as a head coach.
Wild Card Saturday continues. Next, rivals collide. Can Peyton Manning take the Colts back to the Super Bowl? Or will lightning strike for the surging Chargers? Wild Card Saturday continues. Next, only on NBC.
Kenny Awebama was guilty of a penalty there as we went to break. Push in the back, cost them half the distance to the goal, so they'll be backed up. But you know, one of the stories of this game has to be the play of the defense of the Cardinals unexpectedly today.
Yeah, no question. They've been sensational, but this is still a 2-touchdown game.
Right.
You know, so it's a long way from over, and now because a couple of those penalties have come about, now Arizona's backed up in a dangerous position. So now your playing calling has to be a little bit different.
It's not much of a surprise either, shouldn't be anyway. I think that Matt Ryan has had rookie moments today.
He clearly has, and that was the worst of them, that last play.
Warner, quick toss out to Fitzgerald. Makes a pretty good gain on first down of it before Foxworth grabs him by the ankles. And Arizona, you know, everybody said that they couldn't succeed against good teams. They had a record of 9-7. They won the NFC West, acknowledged as a weak division. Sort of limped into the playoffs, didn't finish that well. But they've looked like a completely different team here today. It's been very impressive on both sides of the football.
And Ken Wisenhunt was really clear about it. He said, our guys had a letdown. You know, they clinched so early, and we have a bunch of young guys, and they didn't know how to handle it. And actually, they got blown out in a couple of games after that, but they seem to have pieced it back together here.
There's a first down run by Edgerrin James, dragging Keith Brooking with him. And he looks like a different player as well.
He really does. I mean, this has just been the Edgerrin James that they thought they got a few years back. And this is nothing but old-fashioned power football. There's no tricky things going on here. This is an offensive line that has been much maligned for their inability to run block, and they are just taking over this game at this point.
15 carries, 73 yards for Edgerrin James. That's almost 5 yards a carry. And if they can get the running, there the whistle stops that play. If they can get the running game going with the passing attack they have and 3 receivers over 1,000 yards, wow.
False start. Number 63 offense, double clutch. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Lyle Sinline, the center, called on the penalty. And not only has Edgerrin James gained 73 yards, but a lot of them have come after he's been hit.
Yeah, well, he is running like an angry man today. He certainly is. And I tell you have to give a little credit to Todd Haley as well, the offensive coordinator, a guy that has made some great adjustments here. He has decided to stick with his running game, and it's worked.
Kurt Warner's pass. Spock, the tight end.
Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator, is trained under Bill Parcells. He said, you know, Kurt Warner is one of those guys, he gets bored. He always wants more stuff in. He's used to Mike Martz, who had 400 plays on his play sheet. He said, but I was trained by Bill Parcells, who he would come in and ask me, how many plays do you have in the game plan? I'd say 50, and he'd say, well, get rid of 25 of them. You know, so we're in a little conflict there.
110 yards to 8 in this second half. From the eye, tailback spot. James wrapped up this time. And the yellow flags flies. That confrontation between Bierman and James went all the way to the sideline and then some.
It's like a hold, though, on the Cardinals.
63 offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
The Sinline called for a false start earlier, and that time called for the hold. And of course, this is just the first of 2 on Wild Card Saturday. Coming up, game 2, Peyton Manning and the Colts, LT and the Chargers. Last word we had was LT said he was going to play. The Bridge Show up next. The Diet Pepsi Bridge Show will come up after this game before the start of the second game. The Colts and the Chargers. Big afternoon here of football on NBC, starting with the U.S. Army All-American game and then 2 NFL wildcard games. Draw play Hightower. Run into his own man. It's like they have magnets in them. I don't keep running into their own men.
Well, that was the most athletic play we've seen all day by an offensive lineman. Mike Gandy actually got out of the way of the running back that time. Edgerrin James probably thinking, oh, why didn't they do that for me? Here's Gandy on his birthday. Watch this. Olay,
Whoa.
get out of the way. Nice play, Mike. And happy birthday. Need a stop right here, though, for Atlanta. They need 2 touchdowns to win this thing. And it's hard to imagine if they convert here, they're going to have too many more opportunities.
On 3rd and 12, the Atlanta defense looking for a big stop. Kurt Warner retreats, throws underneath. Fitzgerald tackled well short of the first down, and so the Atlanta defense does hold, thanks in part to a couple of penalties against the Cardinals. Stephen Nicholas on that tackle.
All right, it's Matty Ice time now, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the rookie of the year. The running game isn't going, and so now you really don't have a whole lot of choice, but there is time. I mean, they do not have to get away from the running game with their game plan here. They can stay in this offense, 1 touchdown, and they're in good shape.
Graham will punt to Douglas. Low punt. Douglas, chance for a return. But good coverage by Arizona, taken down at about the 41-yard line. Special teams tackle by Matt Ware. Matty Ice takes over.
NBC.
Matt Ryan facing the biggest moment of his pro career. His brother Mike is here to watch him. They call him Motts. The 2 of them were involved in a serious traffic accident when Motts and Matt were younger. That pass incomplete on first down. They were actually collided with a military fuel truck. And Mike, the older brother, had been a backup quarterback at Widener College in Pennsylvania. And his injuries in that crash were so severe that he was unable to continue as a quarterback. Desperately wanted to play football but could not continue. Matt was in the car with him and was not seriously injured. And for months he wondered, why me? Why did I escape when my older brother, whom I idolize, had his career ended? And it took a long time for him to get rid of the guilt and to be able to go on to have the great career he had at Boston College and now Rookie of the Year in the NFL. That pass on the mark. Finneran. So dealing with the guilt of his brother's career having been ended while he was spared. His brother here to watch him today along with Matt's parents, Bernice and Mike Sr. And he's trying to pull one out for the Falcons. This talented rookie facing a 3rd down. Ryan's pass knocked down, intended for Jenkins, and incomplete.
Well, that time the Cardinals coming with a blitz of their own. They're going to send everybody off the left side here. And Matt Ryan really had a chance to step up into that throw. It's one of the few times a day I've seen him seem to be affected by the blitz. He faded away from that throw when there was really no reason to. His offensive line had it picked up.
Roderick Hood's had a good day, too, for the Cardinal defense, as Mike Smith's going to go for it on 4th down. 4th and 6. 7 minutes to go in the game.
A little early for this, maybe.
Ryan's pass caught out of the backfield. Norwood has a first down and more. Cuts back Norwood inside the 30 down to the 25-yard line. Big play on 4th and 6. Francisco chases him down, but not until Norwood has a 30-yard gain.
Well, they came right back with the same blitz again, and that time Matt Ryan stepped up and made the throw. He threw it simply over the top. They anticipated the blitz. Just a great call on that one by Mike Mularkey.
First down of the half for the Falcons. Ryan back in with him, completes another one. And the tight end Peel draws a crowd. Slammed down around the 20-yard line.
And we've yet to see a run, I think, on this drive, and due in large part to the fact that Michael Turner averaging just 2.3 yards per carry. Clearly the difference in this one has been the ability of the Cardinals to stop the run.
Clock under 6 minutes. Ryan had a man open, found him. Jenkins close to the first down marker on forward progress. Looks like they'll mark it just short. Hood with another tackle.
And Matt Ryan doing a good job getting this ball out of his hands quickly. The Cardinals not playing prevent defense, but it's clearly not wanting to give up the big play.
Ryan keeps it and picks up the first down. Now less than 5.5 to play.
Yeah, and it's time to pick up the pace here a little bit. They're going to have to pick up the tempo now, because you know on the other side of the ball is Kurt Warner, and they clearly have the ability to pick up some first downs once they get it back. So going back to the huddle here, a little surprising.
5 minutes left.
Free play? No.
Flag is down. Ryan tossed it into the end zone where it was picked off, but the whistle had already blown the play dead.
Offside. Number 92, defense unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Bertrand Berry, who has had a big game for the Arizona defense as well.
But we've seen it all day long.
Yeah.
They've been anticipating the snap count, so occasionally you're going to give up one of these. Unfortunately there for Matt Ryan, he thought he had a free play, and if they had allowed it, he had a free shot at the end zone. They blew it dead trying to protect the quarterback.
Ball now at the 10-yard line. Short drop and a quick toss. Good for 5 yards to White. Close to the first down. We'll see where they spot it.
Again, just getting it out of their hands quickly. The cornerbacks are playing off of these receivers, and they're just allowing the underneath plays, obviously trying to allow a little clock to run down here. Again, the Falcons back in the huddle.
And it is enough for the first down. So first and goal, Falcons. Stand up, toss it in the flat for the touchdown to White. White and Wilson with a little jawing afterwards. But Matt Ryan just raising up, tossing it to White, took it into the end zone with 4:15.
How about that drive by Matty Ice there?
There
Not
you
a
go.
single run on the entire play, on the entire drive, and he takes them the length of the field. Again, I don't understand exactly why the Cardinals are playing their cornerbacks back in the end zone when they're on the 5-yard line. They just gave up a cheap touchdown.
Mason Elam. Extra point is good. Touchdown for Roddy White, who's had a big season. Mike Ryan, Matty's older brother, applauds as they pull within 6. 6-point game with 4:15 left. Arizona takes over, and the last time they came off the field after their drive, here's what Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator, said to them.
All right, so no penalties. Everybody coming off the ball. Make sure you do your job. Just do your job, and we'll win this game. It's going to be in our hands, just like we talked about last night. I don't care where we're at right now.
So Todd Haley saying the game was in their hands. The offense about to get the football here. Canaan's kickoff. Arrington out of the end zone. Decked at the 20-yard line, where they will begin. And Sunday, January 11th, the party of the year is back and bigger than ever. All the stars of TV and movies let loose at the Golden Globes. That's January 11th on NBC.
Tom, you hear all the time about the 4-minute offense, and we have 4 minutes and 10 seconds here, and this is exactly what it is. You have the ball on offense. You want to be able to grind out the remainder of the clock and not give it back to the Atlanta Falcons. Usually running teams are more successful with it. Do they have that kind of faith in their running game here to stay with it?
But how many times has Kurt Warner been in this situation? Super Bowl MVP and league MVP. He's going to toss, and it's a dangerous one, but there's the sure-handed Fitzgerald to latch on to it. A gain of 15 and a first down before he's tackled by Chris Houston.
That was a great route that time by Larry Fitzgerald. He made it look like it was going to be a post corner route, and just at the top of it, he stops and comes back to the football. Perfectly run route, and you can see the confidence that Kurt Warner has, releasing that ball well before he came out of the break. Perfect timing.
And the Cardinals continue to play without Boldin, who strained a hamstring, their 1,000-yard receiver. Fitzgerald with 6 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown today. Toss this one to Adrian James. James looking for a block, can't get one. Does manage to stay in bounds as he's collapsed by Brooking over on the sideline, close to it, but not out of bounds.
That was that formation that they've been using those pick plays on all day, and that time instead they tried to go with the pitch to the outside. Nice play defensively.
And timeout taken by the Falcons with 3:18 on the clock.
And you could see Todd Haley going over to Ken Wisenhunt. This is that time in the game as an offensive coordinator. You want permission to make a few calls. If you're going to go over there and you're going to make a call, you want to run it by the head coach first and make sure he's okay with it.
And of course, a lot more NFL playoff action to come. We'll be going to the Diet Pepsi Bridge Show next, and then after that, the Colts and the Chargers.
Ryan just hoping for a chance here.
Play action fake, and Warner with time, and the receiver caught by Breston. Breston to the 40-yard line. Lawyer Malloy stopped him, but not until he had 25 big yards into Falcon territory.
One of the great things about having a Larry Fitzgerald on your team, this time he clears out, he draws all the attention. Breston comes across the field, and the protection once again is there. This play takes a long time to develop, and for Kurt Warner, he had all the time he needed. Huge play in the ball game.
And Mike Gandy, the birthday boy, well, has taken care of John Abraham today. He couldn't have a better birthday present than what he has done to the sack leader of the Falcons. Hand off to Hightower. Spinning his way and free for the moment. Finally collapsed by Lofton, but had a couple of extra yards on the end of that run, and the clock advances to 2:21.
There's a nice play that time by Curtis Lofton. That one looked like it was going to get around the corner, but he flashed his speed.
Timeout Atlanta.
For John Abraham, this has not been the best of days. Has he been getting some added attention? Yeah, but he also has seen a lot of one-on-one blocks. And these two tackles have done the job. They've tried him on the left side. They've tried him on the right side. You can see they're not chipping. They're not leaving the tight end. This is just superior play out there by Levi Brown, by Mike Gandy. And it really has been one of the differences in this game. This offensive line, they've been known as pass protectors, and nobody in the league has had to pass protect more this season than these guys have. But today, against one of the best, got it done. One tackle all day for John Abraham.
That is amazing. And he was sort of licking his chops going against the birthday man Mike Gandy. Didn't pan out that way. Here is an end around that's a disaster.
Goodness.
Breston. There's Abraham. Just when we were saying where's he been all day, he makes a huge play. What about this call, though?
It's bizarre. Now, I will say that there are a lot of coaches that will tell you that this is the point in the field where indeed you will take a shot like that. You want to do a trick play, you want to do it right around the midfield area. But boy, oh boy, that was a big one there. So now, unless the Falcons have a real letdown here, they are going to get the football back with plenty of time.
They will not have any timeouts. They'll get the stoppage at the 2-minute warning. That last play lost 8 yards.
I hope he got permission on that call.
Now all the way back to the 46-yard line. 3rd down and very long. Warner. Wide open in the center of the field is Spock, the tight end. He was absolutely wide open. And he has it 22 yards and a big, big first down. Whoa.
Watch the linebackers inside for the Atlanta Falcons. For whatever reason, they jump up. The veteran, Keith Brooking, a terrible mistake. It was 3rd down and a mile, and Keith Brooking jumps the underneath route. What is he doing out there?
2-minute warning.
And the world is made of energy, and the world is electricity, and the world is made of energy, and there's a lot inside of you, and there's a lot inside of me, and the world.
On February 1st, the world will watch as history is made. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band take the field live for their first Super Bowl performance ever. Don't miss the Bridgestone Super Bowl 43 halftime show featuring Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. February 1st, only on NBC.
We're going against a team with a really good offense, so might be a high-scoring game.
It's probably going to come down to the last possession.
Well, it could come down to the last possession, but the Cardinals just made a huge play to pick up a first down with 2 minutes left. It went to Spock, who has 3 receptions all this half.
Well, for Keith Brooking and Curtis Lofton right here, for some reason they come here. Look where they had to get for that first down. Why would you jump anything underneath? You don't care if that back catches the ball. The only thing in that defense you care about is a tight end running down the middle, and that was a gift.
Steven Spock, the tight end in his 3rd year from Fresno State. Clutch grab as he came wide open in the middle, and with no timeouts for the Falcons left, Kurt Warner will take a knee.
And how special is this? For the people of Arizona, for the fans of the Cardinals, what has it been, 60 seasons since they've had a home playoff game?
Since 1947 when they played in Comiskey Park, and they actually won the NFL championship that year, 1947, as they had hosted their last playoff game before this one. They went all during their time in St. Louis, all during their time here in Arizona till today without hosting a playoff game. And here they are in the victory formation and about to move on in the playoffs. Steven Spock had 2 receptions all season long. He had 3, none bigger than that last one to give the Cardinals the first down, and eventually victory as the clock continues to tick away.
Well, for John Abraham, it's been a tough day, but I hope they have a lot of game balls out there, because this offensive and defensive line were tremendous.
Won't know who their next opponent will be until tomorrow's game is played. But if they play the Panthers, Carolina's beaten them 5 straight. Well, and here's
There we go. Now you got the diversionary tactics, the player in front getting his attention. Now here you go.
And as the fans watch it, they applaud here too, as Whisenhunt gets the cold shower. And the Arizona Cardinals will advance in this 4-5 NFC wildcard matchup. They defeated the Atlanta Falcons despite trailing at halftime. They had the big 3rd quarters they'd had all year long. They let Atlanta close within 6 here in the 4th. But the big reception, Kurt Warner to Steven Spock on 3rd and 16, gave them a first down and able to clinch the victory. Kurt Warner back in the playoffs for the first time since 2002, savors the victory and has the big smile to prove it. Right, Tiki?
Kurt, this was a big day for you guys. You thought you couldn't run the ball against these teams. You ran very effectively in the first half and also in the second half. How big was that in helping you guys get this win?
Well, you know it's always huge in the playoffs, and I think they came in saying, hey, we got to stop their passing game, make them run on us, and the guys up front, Edge did a tremendous job running the football today, and it was a huge key.
You told us a couple of days ago you didn't know if your teammates thought that they could win this game or win going forward. What do you think now?
Well, I hope this gives us a lot of confidence. I knew we believed we could win this game. Hopefully we can parlay this into some more confidence where we believe we can go wherever we have to go and win.
This one, you guys got to go on the road. You get a little bit of home field advantage. If you get some conditions on the road, do you think you guys can adjust to it?
Well, I hope so. We're going to have to. That's the bottom line is that, in the playoffs, you got to go on the road. You got to win wherever they put you. And we're going to have to step up no matter what the conditions and play well.
Kurt Warner, congratulations. Thanks, buddy. Tom, back to you.
Kurt passed for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Edgerrin James gained 73 yards, averaging nearly 5 yards a carry. Fitzgerald with 6 receptions as it's 30-24 Arizona wins. Coming up next, it's the Diet Pepsi Bridge Show. Then catch Game 2 of NBC's Wild Card doubleheader as Peyton Manning and the Colts take on LaDainian Tomlinson and the Chargers. That's all coming up next, only on NBC. Big win for the Arizona Cardinals and a long time coming. For Chris Collinsworth and Tiki Barber, Tom Hammond saying so long from Arizona. You're watching the NFL Wild Card Playoffs on NBC.